Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, November 19th. So we have the moon in her rulership in Cancer energy here all day, which means that we're a little bit more introverted. We're definitely more connected to our intuition, to our emotions, and we're definitely more attached to the past than anything else. Of course, we want to stick to what is tried, tested, and true. We want to convince ourselves that, again, things aren't as bad, things aren't as dire as they actually are, because we want to convince ourselves that we don't need to change. We don't need to transform. We don't need to grow or evolve. And of course, that's just the ego's way of trying to keep us in a state of paralysis. But when we attach to our intuition with our higher selves, we know that change is absolutely necessary. So today is a major day because, of course, we have Pluto, the great transformer himself, moving out of the final degrees of this Capricorn energy, and we are permanently setting up shop in Aquarius. So first of all, there is an astro forecast for this particular event. Bust out your November energy guide for your zodiac sign and flip to this particular energy shift. We want to capture what is going on. This is going to be a reference that we're going to need to come back to many, many times from now until 2044. That's right, 2044. Huge amount of time. Of course, it's going to feel pretty good to close the door on that Capricorn energy that we've been working through since 2008. But there is going to be an intensity. There is going to be a little bit of a destabilization in order for us to kind of feel where we're being catapulted into new situations, into new circumstances. And of course, having this particular shift take place at the very end of Scorpio season that Pluto energy rules over, we are definitely feeling that final hurrah of that Capricorn energy finally being put behind us. And of course, the embrace of change, of innovation, of progress. With all of that being said, there are 8 different aspects popping off here today. 6 of them are going to involve the moon. So right out of the gate, we have the moon in Cancer making a very awkward interaction with the sun in Scorpio energy. So anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment of an emotional awareness that we're now realizing that we have to really pay attention to. This could be an illumination of what it is that we need to do, what we need to pursue, what we have to change, what we have to transform, or it could be a realization, an epiphany, a light bulb moment on what it is that we need in our lives to feel safe, secure, to feel taken care of, to feel supported in particular areas of life. Now, this is a water on water action, which means that it is very cleansing, it is very purifying, it is very refreshing to a certain degree, but it's also very stormy, very overwhelming, because of course, this is not the best aspect for these signs to be interacting in these water energies. And so this is going to destabilize us in our inner emotional realm in order to highlight the darker parts, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the resistance to the change that we know that we need to make. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is now direct in this Pisces energy. So this is a positive water on water aspect that will feel very cleansing, very purifying, very refreshing, very rejuvenating in our soul, in our spirit. Now, again, Saturn is taking a little bit of time to kind of wake up from his 4.5-month slumber. We are taking a little bit of an inventory, a little bit of stock, so to speak, to see what we need to boss up into, where we have to have a little bit more accountability, responsibility for our lives, and where it is that, again, we have to come up with a proper plan, a proper strategy on how to actually move on, to make some progress towards building new dreams, a new structure, a new foundation in our physical realm. So the moon and Saturn working together, giving us a little bit more of a stronger emotional foundation to feel like we have what it takes to do all of the things. We are getting organized, not only in our thoughts, but in our emotions as well, trying to get that heart and head on the same page so that we can engage the physical body, Mars, who's currently sitting on the bench, waiting to get put back into the game in order to actually make the physical moves in our exterior realm that our heart and head need to be in agreement with. So there is this focus that is coming with Mr. Saturn for us to get honed in on what actually needs to be done. Again, there is this ending and closure that will need to take place before we can start pursuing new passions, new goals, new ideas. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in his pre-retrograde shadow period. The closer that we get to the 25th, the slower our brains are going to be, the more miscommunications and misunderstandings are going to take place when Mercury actually retrogrades. But we are in this Sagittarius energy. So again, trying to look at things through an optimistic lens, rose-colored glasses, if you will. We're trying to kind of build new hopes, new wishes, new dreams within us. We're challenging a lot of those old narratives, those old ideas. We have Mercury trining, which is a beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in this Aries energy, helping us to bring this new version of self online, helping us to feel safe and secure and strong and confident in this new version of self as well. This particular interaction is going to open up our minds, especially to learning from other people that maybe have a little bit more experience, maybe have a different life view, maybe have a different perspective or understanding of certain concepts, certain ideas, certain circumstances that we just do not have at this particular juncture. So this is kind of opening up our headspace to see where it is that we could challenge our perspective, challenge our understanding. And where communication is concerned, we're definitely more open to communicating our true thoughts, our true feelings. We want to, again, speak very authentically. Reminder, Sag energy has no filter. Okay, we're just blurting things out. We're straightforward. We're blunt. But sometimes when we have a lot weighing on our headspace and our heart space that we just need to get out of our body and off of our chest, it's sometimes good to just open your mouth and let it roll. Now, that being said, we are kind of, on this wavelength where we want to have these conversations that are very essential for our growth. We need to be understood by the people that we're sharing time, energy, and space with if there's a chance for us to grow and evolve together. So this is putting us in a situation where we're going to have some very constructive conversations, if you will, and we're a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more authentic with kind of speaking from our heart space. We have the moon in Cancer energy making a positive interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings, who of course is retrograde in Gemini energy. We're looking back. We're challenging old ideas. We're challenging old information, old perspectives, old understandings. We're also reflective on what it is that we've previously learned through tough love life situations and circumstances that we're failing to actually use, to put into practice, to integrate into this present moment, into the here and now. And so emotionally speaking, this is a beautiful interaction because it's kind of gaining a little bit of momentum, if you will, with the options, the opportunities that we're actually willing to consider making. Again, that moon in Cancer overly attached to the past, but this is a good interaction where, again, we may be looking back, but in reference to understanding where it is that we have options and opportunities to actually grow, to heal, to expand upon some of the things that are actually working for us in our physical realm. So Jupiter brings the hype. He magnifies this particular state of emotion. It could be an over-exaggerated state of emotion, meaning we're feeling all the feels very intensely. However, this is the best mood, the best attitude, the best outlook that we could possibly adopt. The moon in Cancer then going to square, get into the boxing ring, with Chiron. So this isn't going to feel so good. Again, just when we are starting to be optimistic, to feel confident about our ability to make changes, to grow, to evolve, to actually transform, the ego part of self kicks in, reminds us of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities. Now we're coming up with excuses on why it is that maybe the options that we were excited about earlier probably aren't good options. Now we're speaking fear into the dream, into the goal, into the vision that we just had. And this is definitely going to put us in defense mode because the shadow part of the moon in Cancer is to be passive aggressive in this defense mode, not want to let new ideas in, not want to let ourselves actually dream about what could be, because again, that kicks off the to-do list that we're not really fond of actually creating at this particular point in time. So we're going to start feeling all of the reasons of why we shouldn't want to grow and heal and evolve. This is when, again, we become overly attached to what it is that we've already built and created. We're going to come up with some foolish justifications on why it is that we want to stay where it is that we're at. It will be very short-lived because the moon is then going to make a harsh interaction with Mercury. So the moon is our heart space, Mercury is our head space. They're not getting along. They're not on the same page, mostly because Mercury in the Sag energy is futuristically focused, very optimistic about what could be, very hopeful, very wishful for the good things to come. But in this particular situation, the moon in this Cancer energy is so triggered, so activated, so unstable, so unsure that again, we are so attached to the past. We are so attached to trying to keep things the same because again, we would rather have a predictable, not so good situation, know what we're dealing with, know what we're about to face, than again, kind of open ourselves up for experimentation, for exploration, like the Sag energy wants us to do, because we can't predict something that is foreign to us. So this is this whole, like trying to weigh the pros and cons, like, are you comfortable with repeating the same day over and over and over again, even though you want to change, even though you want to grow, but because you don't know what to expect when you make those changes, you would rather stay in a bad situation because it's predictable, because it's familiar? Or are you willing to open up your mind to the possibilities, open up yourself to making changes and transformations, not only in the way that you think, but in the way that you feel, in order to experiment with what could be? 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Pluto, the great transformer himself, saying goodbye to the Capricorn energy forever. We will never see Pluto in this Capricorn energy in our lifetimes ever again. And as beautiful as it is to say goodbye, to wave goodbye, to put that particular chapter behind us, we do not know what to expect from this Aquarius energy. And of course, I am going to encourage you to listen to the astro forecast, to do the work in the November energy guide. I do have a Pluto in Aquarius astro class taking place over on my Patreon. If you want to jump into that and do a deep dive, we are in for a very interesting turn of events. And of course, the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Cancer energy sextiling, which is a beautiful interaction with Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. This is essentially giving us a little bit of a zap to our central nervous systems, to our mind, to our awareness, to our consciousness. We understand that the Cancer energy, very attached to the past. Uranus being retrograde in Taurus energy, illuminating why we're so attached to the past. Why are we having a hard time letting go of people, places, and things that we do not resonate with, that we have outgrown, that we have no want, need, or desire to continue to pour into? Why are we having such a hard time moving on and moving forward? This epiphany, this light bulb moment is going to change our perspective. And once you know, you can't unknow. And once you have a vision, you can't forget that vision. And once the energy pushes you into a new level of awareness, pushes you into a new level of consciousness, you can't go back. And so this is definitely going to put us in an emotional state of excitement, of mania, of anticipation, of anxiousness. However, we're not sitting in the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the way that, typically speaking, we would have before. Now, I know Pluto just shifts into this Aquarius energy, and you're going to say, well, it doesn't work that fast. We can't be open-minded. We can't be open to making dramatic changes. We can't be looking for innovation and progress for the next 20 years that quickly. Oh, yes, we can. We can change our mind in the snap of the fingers. And this particular energy is going to do just that.